Below White Holiday in the Comicsgate phone book. It's my favorite failed clone of Peter Sammetti. The YouTube how you doing, Conrad? Welcome to the show.
Hello. Welcome to WyzGyzEntertainment. This is your host, Wyman. We're joined today by our guest, Mike Murphy. How's it going, man?
It's going good. Hey, everybody. Happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, fantastic. Good to have you back.
It's been It's been a minute.
How have things been for you in general?
In general, things have been all over the place, man.
Really?
But the company's doing good. So there's that. Spent most of last year in production hell, fixing some issues that we were having. But, we're starting the year off strong and I'm pretty pleased.
So as you go from one campaign to the next, are there some lessons learned that what you think would be beneficial to up-and-coming creators and crowdfunded comics creators?
Well, I don't know about lessons learned, but it feels like the talk in CG over the past week or two has been moving towards having books complete or near complete before the crowdfunding begins. And I can definitely tell you within the next year or so, that's definitely where we're going to be at as a publisher, so that some of the delays that we were hit with over the past year or so don't happen again.
If you don't mind sharing, were some of those related to what seems to be a global supply issue with paper?
We're fingers crossed that we don't run into that now. That may be an issue now that we're about to go to print with Deepwell. But no, it was mostly, and I was saying this on the few streams that I did last year. I hate the phrase, these trying times, but it really was an issue of, so-and-so's, mother or father got hit with COVID really bad, and now the entire family's suffering, so they have to take X amount of time away from production to go deal with that. Stuff like that.
Yeah, unexpected emergencies.
Yeah, without getting into specifics or accidentally throwing someone under the bus.
Right, of course.
It was just one thing after another, and then the biggest thing was we had a member of one of our books just completely vanish off the face of the earth.
Huh?
So the work,
one of the team members.
Yeah.
Damn.
And so with them gone, we had to completely scrap their work and hire someone else at the 11th hour to do the work all over again.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
man.
it's been a ride, man. It's been a ride.
That's got to be rough. It's hard to adapt to those kinds of circumstances. You don't expect someone to come down with an illness, and it's not like other 9-to-5 jobs where you're sick, there's other members to pick up the slack.
Exactly.
You've got people who are specialized in their areas, and they're there to do a job and to do it right. So
or even in a traditional mainstream publishing house, you've got at least some extra capital that you're working with overhead, and that can trickle down and you can hire new people easily or whatever the case may be. Whereas this, it's okay, well, if that money is spent from the crowdfund, money pit, I just have to throw more money into the money pit, and I guess that's going to be my money from my work,
Right. Yeah. Having to adjust the budget accordingly.
Yeah.
And then of course people don't expect someone to drop off the face of the earth without any notice or
yeah.
That's that's kind of that's awful tough. I mean,
You told me, man.
I'd hate to put someone in that kind of position where I suddenly disappear, and before you know it, everyone's scrambling trying to figure out what the heck to do and
Right.
how long to wait before trying to move forward.
Right.
What's
I
the
mean,
plan?
obviously, obviously, it was upsetting, but I'll be honest, man. I just hope the person in question is okay.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a fact. So, as we mentioned at the beginning, it has been quite some time since you were last on the show.
Yeah, man.
And I'd love it if you take a moment to share your quote unquote origin story.
Sure, you got it, man.
And what were you into when you were a kid? Were you into comics, cartoons, toys, movies? And what were the major milestones along, through your life that led you down this path of becoming your own independent crowdfunding creator?
Right. Okay. Yeah. Let's see how like quick I can sum all that up. So,
take your time.
Yeah. The answer to like what I'm into or what I grew up with is yes to all of that. Yeah, I use this quote often. It's from Guillermo del Toro. He always says, "I'm a glutton for entertainment," and I definitely fall into that camp. For me, it's just I just want a cool story. I kind of don't care what the medium is, so I end up being, like I'm a film buff. I'm obviously a lifelong comic reader, books, TV shows, video games, like all the above. Like I've been into my entire life. In terms of in terms of milestones, like my first comics when I was like maybe 5 years old was the first issue of Sword of the Atom and a Gumby summer special that I later in life found out that Art Adams drew when he was really young.
Really?
Yeah.
Art Adams worked on a Gumby project?
Yeah, like 3 years ago, I follow him on Instagram, and 3 years ago, like he was cleaning out his archives, and like he pulls out these like old yellow pages, and I'm like, oh damn, I recognize it, and it was all these pages from that Gumby thing that he drew.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just a flood of memories.
So was it a thing where he was sharing with his audience stuff that he did in the past, or was he at a point where he wanted to start selling these kinds of things or putting them up at auctions?
I think he was just showing them. I don't know like if he was just like cleaning his office or if they were moving or what was happening, but it was just kind of a, hey, we're cleaning up around here and like look at all this stuff that I'm digging up.
That's cool.
Yeah, man.
Looking back at memories and whatnot.
Yeah. So, those were my first two books and those got me hooked into comics pretty hard. And I think it was the first episode of Batman the Animated Series, the pilot with Man-Bat.
Oh, really?
I think that was the point where, like, yeah, I kind of remember as a kid, like, thinking to myself, like, well, obviously, like, this is what I'm doing with the rest of my life. So yeah, like ever since then, it's just been like this kind of like stubborn, singular, like working towards that goal.
Wow, nice. Did you grow up with parents who tried to encourage you to go into another field, maybe something that you could have a career in?
Where's the money, basically?
Yeah.
No, like I got that from the rest of my family. I have that upbringing where like I'm not really close to 95% of my family. Definitely on both my mom and dad's side, like it was just constantly like, no, you're not doing that. Like I had my uncle on my mom's side trying to get me to go into law because he was a judge. And I had everyone on my dad's side trying to get me into business because, they lived in Illinois, but now they're in Vegas and they're all like real estate managers and property owners. So they were pulling at me from every direction, but my mom and my grandfather on my mom's side were pretty adamant in the whole thing of like, hey, like, if that's what he wants, that's where we're going to let him pursue. And I don't know, like I had a weird relationship with my dad. It wasn't the best for most of our lives, but I, like he was the source that kind of got me into this stuff. So even if he was kind of nervous about what my future would be, I kind of think he took the approach of like, well, I'm kind of responsible for this, so I have to be okay with it.
Did he end up being your biggest cheerleader?
No, man. No. My dad was a weird guy. I feel like there were two different versions of my dad, and the cool version I didn't really get to meet because he was long gone before I was even born.
Wow.
He was supportive of the work, and he was always willing to share, like pop culture and nerd culture stuff with me. But 90% of our relationship outside of that stuff was just distance,
Hey, welcome, Metal Movies and Brewskis.
Hey, how's it going, man?
What's up? Longshadow looks badass. Can't wait.
Thanks so much, man. We're working hard here.
Welcome, Carol's Cookies. Hello.
Hello.
Just a quick unrelated side note, Carol. Your package should go out tomorrow morning.
Was that what you were working on before the show? Okay.
I owe her a piece. Well, not something I made, but something I helped pick up for her.
Okay.
Yeah, so the thing that I found kind of challenging growing up is, I guess in a way I don't know, maybe I'm not super driven like some other individuals are, like E-type personalities. I consider myself very much like a B or C type personality, where I'm really ultra laid back, and it's like, so it's like, what were you, since you had this focus to go in this direction in terms of a career, did it come natural to you that you were like, I'm going to get to that goal come hell or high water? No one's going to stop me. No one's going to put me down, and no one's going to sway me. Did you have inside and burning inside to keep you going?
Yeah, man. Like if we're talking personality types, I'd say I'm a laid back A type personality. Like I'm very driven, but it takes a lot to get me upset or worked up. But definitely when it comes to, determination, like there's two things that kind of define me. Like I don't know, like I know this is an old reference, but like they're both old references because I'm old. So there's this moment in Annie Hall where Woody gets pulled over by a cop, and the cop's like, I need to see your license. And it's just the thing of like, like F you, like don't tell me what to do. Like Woody pulls out his license and just like starts tearing it up right in front of the cop. And as he's tearing it up, he's like, I'm sorry, I have to do this. I'm sorry. And the other thing is, John Locke from Lost, like his whole thing of like, don't tell me what I can't do. If someone says that what I'm doing is a waste of time or any variation of that, I shut that shit out really quick, because it's like my whole life I've just had tunnel vision. Like if I know that I want something, I don't stop pursuing it. Like I took a brief hiatus from comics and art in general, like between high school and college, when I was in a band for like 5 years. But towards the end, I was I was running late for practice. I would barely make it in time for shows, and that was because I was spending more and more time at, the art college I was going to downtown, and hanging out with my friends there and making comics and stuff and trying to start a company before, Chibi existed. And it just got to the point where, like, me and my friend who was the singer, like, we just had to take a walk after one of the shows, and he was like, look, this isn't working. And I'm like, yeah, I know, man. I don't, like, I love you guys, but like, comics is what I'm doing with the rest of my life. So
Well,
kind of stubborn. I'm kind of stubborn, man.
Welcome, Carol. Indie Wrestling Aces. Hail,
Hey,
what's up?
Ace, how's it going, man?
Sweet, thanks. I can't wait, Miguel and Joe Bob. Yeah, that's kind of an inside joke. So you've got this cool looking project here.
Mm-hmm.
Longshadow, a high fantasy pulp novel. Now, you've been doing comics, and now you're going this direction of pulp novel. Is this like, are you like temporarily hopping on another rail first, or are you like going this direction and then you're going to hop back into comics, or are you like going down two simultaneous paths?
I guess if you had to say, it would be two simultaneous paths, but I mean, don't get it wrong. Like, the focus of Chibi Comics is comics. That being said, I've always loved pulp as a medium and as a genre, and I just dig the format. And I was talking about this last night on like a couple different streams. Like, there's something about the format that I think could be brought to a modern audience and appeal to a modern audience. But the reason it hasn't is because it's so closely tied to these really, really old properties. And they're properties that I love, but they're old properties, like, nonetheless. You know what I mean? Like, The Shadow, Doc Savage, all the stuff by Robert E. Howard, Conan, Solomon Kane. The Phantom, I could go on, but the bullet point is, like, I think when people think of what a pulp story is, they think of that stuff, and for some people that's kind of a turnoff. But if you look at modern storytelling, like, even something like, visual novels on the manga side of things, that's essentially a descendant of pulp. It's mostly reading text with accompanying illustrations, as opposed to sequential art. So I had the idea of, we're doing a couple major releases this year. We're doing Gods Fear Me 2, and then in the summer we're going to be doing Red Key, and fingers crossed, those are going to be big, but they're also going to take the better part of a year to produce and get into people's hands. And so, I was like, what could I produce that would be quick and cheap and dirty, and I could get into people's hands in like 5 months, if not less? And so I started thinking about pulp and what I could do to bring that entire thing into modern day.
For those in the audience who aren't aware, would you share what it means to have a pulp product?
Sure. So they were called the pulps because they were mostly short stories in anthology magazines that came out weekly or monthly, and they were printed on, like, it was worse than newsprint. Like, there were literally like chunks of wood falling out of some of the pages. They were. So this goes back decades and decades and decades. It predates comics, and basically it's a short story, written as prose, but they contain illustrations. There's usually a chapter page, with a full page illustration. And then there are little spot illustrations throughout the chapter that kind of illustrate and showcase what's happening in a particular scene. And these things were incredibly popular, like, again, to, like, you know, kind of pull those threads all the way back, you know, that it really is the foundation that the entire comic medium and manga was built on, because they were written quick, they were printed quick, and they were consumed quickly. It was this weekly fix that tons and tons of people all throughout the country would get and were really into. And, you know, it led to some of the biggest properties. Like, at its height, the Shadow was way more popular than Batman is even today. Like, at its height, the Shadow had a radio play, the ongoing Pulp series, and 2 movies in the same year.
No, dang. Yeah,
So
popular.
yeah. So it's, you know, it's quick, disposable storytelling. And by disposable, I literally don't mean please don't throw out Longshadow when you get it and read it. I'm just saying, like, it's bite size. Like, you can read through a Pulp in like maybe an hour, if not less. Like, it was designed for like train commutes. It was designed for, you know, kids in school during their breaks. Like, that's where the pulp market thrived for decades. And then, you know, comics kind of evolved from there.
Huh. Would it be accurate at all to compare Reader's Digest as being pulp in nature?
Sure. Yeah, I guess the spirit of it, yeah, but, like, you know, I don't think I don't think Reader's Digest has like illustrations. Maybe they have, like, it's been a while since I've read Reader's Digest.
Right.
Like, maybe there are like photos and stuff, but this really was, you know, this hybrid. It wasn't quite a novel and it wasn't quite a comic. It was somewhere in between.
And you meant, excuse me, and you mentioned anthology. So is Longshadow in this incarnation going to have several short, bite-sized stories in one book?
So basically the approach that I'm taking is, you know, like, once a pulp series got extremely popular, within 5 to 10 years, they started doing reprints. And they would be, you know, paperback size, you know, like, I mean, for people in our generation in the 80s, you know, if you would see like a Shadow novel or a Doc Savage novel, or, you know, even like some of the early like Star Trek 66 novels, um, that's where they would be reprinted. And I'm kind of taking the approach of, like, each of these Long Shadow novels are going to be standalone, and I'm treating it like each section hypothetically would have existed previously as, you know, an entry in an anthology magazine. But here it's all collected in one go.
And is there any, like, excuse me, is there any kind of like set format to a pulp? You said it's like a melding of novel and imagery.
Yeah.
For example, if you look at a form of fiction, maybe, excuse me, you might have like half the text, then you have this, or maybe it's a biography. You'll have like half the book full of text, and then somewhere in the middle you've got nothing but photos
Right.
of the subject matter, and
Right.
then the other half is all, you know, the rest of the text. Or do you intersperse it? Do you space images out periodically, evenly?
Yeah, it's interspersed throughout the entire book. It's not like you're just reading a book and all of a sudden there's like a collection of illustrations in the middle and then it goes back to being a book. You know, like I was saying, at the start, there's usually like a chapter page where it's like, you know, chapter 1 and whatever the subtitle is, and then like a splash illustration that showcases what's either going on at the opening or like the biggest moment that happens in the chapter. And then you'll flip forward a couple pages into the chapter, and there'll be a little spot illustration designed into one of the pages that showcases, like, you know, like in the text, Longshadow is walking down like a dark, dimly lit hallway, and he hears something like, moving in the darkness. And so Jeff, our cover artist and interior artist, he would do like a little, like maybe 2x3 illustration of Longshadow in a tunnel, and there's something, maybe like glowing eyes or whatever in the far distance.
All right.
Like
So,
if
oh, go ahead.
if anyone watching this now, or like after, anyone that backed The Gods Fear Me and got the prequel novella, the prequel novella was kind of my test lab for this whole experiment that I'm doing, because that novella was basically a pulp story. It was like a 36-page one-off, and I had Christian Rossi do, I think, 8 spot illustrations throughout the entire thing. And so if you've read that, this is pretty much going to be the exact same thing, but on a much bigger scale, because it's going to come in at 112 pages.
So how so you came up with the whole story behind Longshadow, right?
Yeah. So Longshadow was, like, be it like tabletop RPGs or like a video game RPG, any RPG where I could create my own character, or there was like the character creation screen. I've been playing as Longshadow for basically the past 10 years.
Oh man.
Yeah. So like Elder Scrolls, whatever game you can think of, I'm always Longshadow.
That's great.
So I kind of know this guy inside and out.
Oh man, what a trip! As opposed to creating brand new characters in every iteration of every tabletop game, you chose to focus on this one character. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah. So, like the only thing at that point was, when I decided to do like a whole book based on him, I'm like, okay, I understand him, but I kind of had to build like my own fantasy world from the ground up, because obviously like it couldn't be, D&D or, like I said, Elder Scrolls or whatever, So the part that took the longest was like actually establishing like his own world.
Right. Well, that's cool.
Thanks, man.
Let's check out. All right, so this one. Let's check out the trailer here.
Yeah, let's do that.
Wait, do my eyes deceive me? Is that just me?
What?
Am I just dreaming things, or is independent with ENT?
Yeah, you caught it, man. Like, I noticed the typo right as I hit export on the video. I'm like, I'm not doing it again. I don't care. I don't care.
I know. I'm picky sometimes. Sometimes things like shoot out at me. And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Did you make that trailer?
Yeah, I did, man.
Oh, all right, nice.
Yeah, I do all the trailers for all of our campaigns.
What product did you use? What software?
I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head because I'm not on my laptop right now.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like Cyberpoint or something. It's like a freeware program.
Oh, cool.
Oh, and thank you, Carol.
Yeah, Carol says pretty cool shit. She was playing with me when I said it's kind of an inside joke.
Right.
What these are talking about. I like the naked chick with the sword.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, so let's see here. Let me come back to that screen that has it. So this is your 7th campaign already. Wow.
Yeah. Again, that's kind of technical because we have 2 like leftover first printing campaigns, and the first Samurai campaign didn't fund, so we had to redo it. So it's actually like if you're talking chronologically, it's our 4th campaign.
Okay, that's still pretty impressive.
Yeah, thank you, man.
I mean, people, new creators have like probably the hardest time because they're not even established. They're not even known. So
right,
they first have to release a book before some people will consider backing them.
Yeah, man. I mean, I looked into, being there at kind of near the beginning of CG, and a lot of people, both creators and readers, took a chance with us on Samurai and Dinosaurs, and we've just tried to hit the ground running from there and not stop. We're done. Well, I'd say we're like 98% done fulfilling The Gods Fear Me, and Deepwell is going to print within the next like month and a half. And then, like I was saying, we'll be doing The Gods Fear Me 2 late April, and then The Red Key late summer.
Okay. All right. Nice.
Yeah, man.
So since this is technically the 7th campaign, do you feel like things are getting easier to tackle? Any hiccups, roadblocks, or anything? Is it easier to adapt to them and find solutions quicker?
Yeah, I feel like all the stuff that I had problems with, like back during our first campaign, I have ironed out at this point. But now just with like the way the world is, like it's a whole new set of problems that I'm having to adapt to.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about at the start, like I hope that paper issues aren't going to be a problem when we go to print on Deepwell, but who even knows?
Right. Yeah, you can't predict those kinds of things.
Yeah. But I mean, in terms of like actually like writing, hiring someone to draw the books, hiring someone to letter them and color them. Well, I color most of them. In terms of that stuff, like just production, like I think at this point, yeah, we have it down pretty good.
Nice.
Like I was saying at the start, like we had to learn some hard lessons that cost us like serious production time with like some of the stuff that went wrong behind the scenes. But all that's taught me is like, okay, if The Gods Fear Me 2 and Red Key does reasonably well financially and we actually have some profits, all those profits are just going into the next books so that they are closer to being done before we launch the campaigns.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, so Carol thinks the naked chick is pretty hot.
She is. Yeah, that's Redlocks. And this isn't just a fantasy story, it's also got some noir elements. And so if you're going to do a noir story, you know, every noir story's got to have a dame in it, and she is the dame.
Well, there you go. Hail, Sugar Chris.
Hey, Chris.
How are you?
It's good to see you, man.
Pretty sweet. Do you view Chibi Comics having like a core team of artist, editor, creator, writer, or are you the type of creator kind of like your boy Zach who has a particular project in mind and goes, all right, what kind of artist could I pair up with, team up with on this project? And then on the next project, totally different style, totally different feel. All right, I think this other artist is the direction I want to go in.
Yeah, you know, because like I know what you mean, because you know, you look at what Vaughn is doing, you know, like sticking with one artist and kind of having like a consistent, you know, house feel to his publishing line.
Right.
There
you go, house feel.
Yeah. I mean, I like the idea of having like a wide stable of creatives that I can work with. You know, and that's mostly artists, because I handle 99% of the writing for anything that comes out for Chibi. But I think each of our projects is fairly unique and kind of almost by design requires like a different artist, you know. That's not to say, like, when we get done with The Gods Fear Me after book 3, I'd love to work with Christian on something else. It just, you know, it won't be anymore The Gods Fear Me, because that story will be done.
Okay.
And, you know, same with Stefani. Like, you know, now that, you know, he's straightened out some of his stuff, you know, which was also tied to last year. You know, like whenever we get done with all 3 volumes of The Red Key, I mean, he is such an amazing illustrator. Like, of course, I want to keep working with him.
I keep trying to get him on my channel, but he says he's so shy and he's afraid that, you know, his English isn't good enough. And then I go and watch his drawing streams, and it's like,
Right.
What the hell, dude?
Yeah, he talks better than I do. Yeah,
You're perfectly fine. What the hell?
Yeah.
Get on my channel now.
I know. No, Stefani's a funny dude. He's a shy guy, but no, he's great. And just keep applying pressure. He'll do it.
Peer pressure.
Yeah.
Welcome, Statistical Zero. What's up? Running through the PG channels to say hi. Hello, everyone. Noise. So good to see you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did I read right? It's like 110 pages?
Yeah, it's going to be 112 pages, and that's including the spot illustration, so it's not wall-to-wall text.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, when making a pulp book, how do you determine how much spot illustration to put in? I mean, do you just go based off what the key highlights or the key points in the story are, and that's how many different image illustrations you'll need? Or do you say, all right, I'm going to make it a point to have at least 20?
Yeah, well, I at the start, I decided on a flat number. I was like, you know, I want to do 25 illustrations total, not including the cover. And, you know, like, because I'm like, okay, the way I approached Jeff with it was, I was like, how would you feel doing about 5 pages worth of work, but they're just individual illustrations? So, like, think of it per panel instead of per page. And, you know, if the average for a comic page is 5 panels, like, okay, so that's basically 25 panels total. And then I just spread that out throughout the novel. So I think I did that to give myself, like, you know, a limit in terms of like how much each chapter could have in it, so that it doesn't get too bogged down with writing or art, you know?
And is it one of those things where before you had the artist tackle it, did you literally submit the whole completed written script of the entire story, or did he just give say a blurb of the story that is specific to the image you want depicted?
Yeah. So the way that we're running the campaign is, a chunk of the profits are going to go towards Jeff to produce the remaining illustrations. I paid for him to produce the cover and 2 illustrations to start with, and I didn't give him like the entire manuscript and be like, read it cover to cover. Uh, I was like, okay, obviously, for the sake of like sex appeal, and we all love, good looking ladies, like the first illustration has to be Red Locks, giving him the job offer. So that was the first one. And then the second one, I wasn't planning on doing, but again, it's it's a hard sell. So to kind of sweeten the pot, I decided to have him illustrate one of the big spoilers of the book, which is this is not only the first volume of Longshadow and his first big adventure, it's also canonically the first appearance of the Red Key. So I had I had him illustrate when he and the Red Key meet for the first time.
Wow! All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and I actually just uploaded that to the campaign. It's a bit further down.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were aware, but excuse me. I did this just as an aside here.
Mm-hmm.
I participated in this thing called John Dillard's Boomerang Box.
Okay.
And in it, he decided to invite me since I was a YouTuber he liked. And I was racking my brain trying to figure out what on earth to contribute, since I'm just a channel. I'm not a comic book creator yet, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, my channel is supposed to be half Comicscape promotion, half Fandom Minutes. So I went, all right, I'm going to make it a point to make sketch cards. Yeah, I guess a lot of people didn't realize I draw. So I did 27 sketch cards, 9 of which were like popular culture characters, cartoon characters I grew up with, movie characters, and then a set of 9 of Comicscape creations, characters.
Yeah.
And then a third set of Comicscape creators, and along with the IP that they're known for, or that they're associated with. So in one of the 9 trading cards in the Comicscape character section, I included Red Key.
Oh, that's right, man. I remember. Yeah, you showed me that last year. Yeah. Oh, fun. Yeah, that's great, man. Yeah, that's. I mean, well, I guess this is the first time I get to thank you in person. So thanks, man. That was really cool.
Yeah, it was a fun project and kind of a challenge, because I was trying to get the whole project, everything on that was required for my channel in terms of the submission to the Boomerang Box, all done before I left California and returned back to Ohio.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. So Longshadow is an ogre detective for hire. That's a trippy idea. An ogre detective for hire, living and operating out of the small village of Coal on Brick, C-O-B, Cobb. In the rowdy tavern known as Amber Glass, he takes on cases and often finds himself way over his head. Such as the case when a mysterious woman with mystic abilities calls on him to venture into the lands of old country. His task? To hunt down the deadly, vile being known only as the Prince of Echoes. Accepting the job, Longshadow is catapulted into an adventure that will affect not only the rest of his life, but the entire kingdom of Elos.
Yes,
Nice.
yes, sir.
Yeah, this is a cool image here. Excuse me.
Yeah, Jeff. I've been watching Jeff grow as an artist for the past couple years from the sidelines. Like, I never really interacted with him too much, besides like liking pieces. And he's got this old traditionalist style to him. And as soon as I decided that Longshadow was going to be a pulp project, I'm like, I got to go get that dude.
Very cool.
There it is.
Whoa. Look at that. Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. And, there's, I'm not going to point them all out, but there's some major spoilers going on there for what exactly the Red Key is and how he fits into building up this Murphyverse that I'm putting together.
The Murphyverse.
Yeah.
And then you've got let me see. All right, then you go into discussing Pulp.
Right.
And then we got the map of the Kingdom of Elos.
Yeah, the map was one of the first things to sell in the campaign. People are hungry. People are thirsty for maps.
Yeah. I'll say. Yeah, anytime you're world building,
Mm-hmm.
it helps to visualize, have on paper or whatever what the world looks like. So if you have trouble visualizing and keeping things straight, you can reference the map and get back on track.
Right. Yeah, like when I started writing the book last year, I just kind of put together a loose thumbnail of how I saw everything. And I learned from how well sales on the map in Deepwell did, for the swag bag.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I don't know I'm going to do it for every campaign and every book, but I got to keep the map thing going. So
yeah, I recommend it. It's a good idea. I really dig it. So if anyone hasn't already, be sure and back this campaign. Back the back the Longshadow Pulp project, Pulp book.
Please do.
If you've already backed it, consider backing again so you have additional copies as gifts.
It's back once, back often.
Yep. Back it once, back it twice, back it 3 times a lady.
Yeah, there you go.
And if you don't have the means to do so at this time, please consider sharing it all over social media.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I dig maps. When you drew this, how big did you make it? Like, what size paper did you put it on?
Yeah, it's 11 by 17, and it's on watercolor board because I wasn't sure at the time if I was gonna add like a splash of color to it. So yeah, the person who bought it is getting like a full size comic page illustration of this thing.
Nice.
Yeah.
And talking about comics these days. Oh, so you're doing all the coloring on this project?
Yeah. Like obviously Jeff painted the main cover because that's what he does. But when it comes to any black and white, inked art that has to be colored, that usually falls to me. Like I colored The Gods Fear Me. I'm wrapping up the coloring on Deepwell. And this is a work in progress, but eventually this is going to be the final image for the prequel novella for Longshadow.
Right.
Yeah. So this is going to be called A Murder in Amberglass. Amberglass, as you read off, is the tavern in Colon Brick that Longshadow operates out of. And this is Sweet Alice. She's kind of the head bar patron at Amberglass. And the story takes place 8 years ago, the night that Longshadow first arrives in Colon Brick. And there's a murder in Amberglass, and of course, everyone immediately looks at Longshadow because here's this 7-foot tall ogre that just strolled into town. So he not only has to prove his innocence, but he has to kind of solve a locked room mystery at the same time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Excuse me. You specified that this is a work in progress, and it tells us here too.
Yeah.
Is what you've done thus far considered what they call flatting?
Yeah, so it's mostly flats and a couple tones. I just wanted it kind of presentable for the page. But you know, I'd say it's like 40% done. Like I may go in and completely strip some stuff out, you know, redo certain complexions or, you know, palette choices. I'm not sure yet.
Cool. A crowdfunding campaign in the spirit of Pulp production. It's meant to be produced and consumed quickly.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's only going to run for a few months and fulfill in May of this year. Jeez.
Yeah.
That's short. So, all right. Okay. Funding goal. Oh, yeah, that was another question. Funding goal will cover the cost of interior spot illustrations produced by our cover artist, Jeff Lasley, as well as printing and shipping. 80 of the planned 112 pages of prose writing are already complete. We want this books in your hand fast. So does that, let me see, run for a few months?
Yeah.
May. Oh, wow. We're already in February. March, April, May. So are we looking at roughly 2 30-day rounds of funding and then 1 month of in demand?
Basically. And you know, I'm planning on printing up 500 copies, so that should leave a decent amount left over. So I'll probably just leave it in demand for, I don't know, probably the better part of this whole year.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the plan is, you know, if we can manage to hit funding within the first month, I'm just going to immediately put Jeff to work and get him, you know, churning out those panels. And if we need to extend, then that just shortens the amount of time that we have to kind of finesse things and prep things. And within a month and a half, we'll have the file ready to be printed. And as soon as we get the copies back, I'll start shipping them out.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be cool. Excuse me. Yeah, one of the things that it seems like people complain the most about Comicsgate is on-time delivery.
Right.
And that's, yeah, we were talking about how it seems like the trend these days is to have most, if not all, the book done before you do your pre-launch or even go live.
Sure.
And that's kind of that was like discussed here and there, not a whole lot early on. But I think it was the idea that you're seeking funds to produce the product.
Right.
That seemed to make the most sense at the time. But yeah, in order to have a balance and, you know, get things out in a timely fashion, it's probably going to have to go that route where most things are done in advance.
Sure.
Whenever possible.
Sure.
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely where like small and mid-tier publishers like, you know, us come in. The main issue is we don't have the profit margins or the overhead to, you know, just sit down with like, you know, Christian or whoever and be like, hey, here, produce like 30 pages worth of material before we even launch. But again, if we can keep growing our audience and if, you know, these titles that we're continuing on with grow in popularity, in theory, that should lead to profit margins that could give us a bit more wiggle room with that. And, you know, like hopefully by the time we get to like the third volumes of all these books, we can be in a position where like at least half of the book is already produced, you know?
Yeah, that'll be nice.
Mm-hmm.
And also, in a sense, in a way to sort of pick up the slack for things not being out on time, those who are late to Comicsgate can go to sites like cgnow.net
That's
from
true.
Mike Bancroft and go to existing online stores and order copies of books that they might have missed out on.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, we've got Samurai and Dinosaurs up on CG now. I'm going to be adding the in-demand store for Gods Fear Me for the leftover campaign. We're going to be adding that in the next week or so to CG now. And also, one of the things I kind of cribbed from Mandy Summers is we're starting to do chibi packs on all of our campaigns where you can not only get the current book that we're crowdfunding, but you can get every book that we've published previously.
Chibi packs. So like, oh, okay, all right. So you'll have a tier, you mean? Like
yeah. Like so for Longshadow, the chibi pack is you'd get Longshadow, but you'd also get the Gods Fear Me #1 and Samurai and Dinosaurs.
Oh, okay.
And every time we do a new campaign and there's a new book added to the back catalog, like we just add another book to that, that campaign.
So for example, like 2 or 3 more campaigns down the road, the chibi pack will include Samurai and Dinosaurs issues 1 and 2, along with the other titles you've released, like this one.
Right. Well, if we do a sequel to Samurai, but yeah, I get your point. Like, yeah,
Okay,
it would.
All right, gotcha.
Yeah, it would be like Samurai, Gods Fear Me 1 and 2, Deepwell 1 and 2, Longshadow, and whatever else.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
So I think that's a smart way to kind of handle your back catalog, because one of the problems for the first year or two of CG was people going, well, how can I get books that are already closed?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, okay, as long as I have the overstock, I can just keep funneling those extra copies into each new campaign, and then when that book does ship, you're not just getting that book, you're getting like a giant stack of everything else we've done.
Right. Now here's a curiosity. All right.
Yeah.
Suppose you're doing this, it's going gangbusters, and then you run out of your overstock.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you'll choose to do reprints of issue
Right, the first printings.
first edition, or are you going to do like a second printing and stamp it on the inside as second printing, maybe give it a new cover?
Yeah, we're quickly running into that issue because we're getting really close to being out of Samurai and Dinosaurs. What we're probably going to do is a second printing with either a new cover, or like, do you know how all of our first editions have that kind of like bumpy texture, like high gloss?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We'll probably do the second printing will either have a new cover, or if it's the same cover, it won't have that like high gloss bumpy feel to it. And that's how you'd be able to tell that it's a second printing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. Funding goal will cover the cost of interior spot illustrations produced by our cover artist Jeff Leslie, as well as printing and shipping.
Mm-hmm.
80 of the planned 112 pages of prose writing are already complete. Want this book in your hands fast. So here's Red Locks.
Yep. And the teaser I've been going with for Red Locks is does she own the sword, or does the sword own her?
It's also kind of interesting how it's designed near the handle.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like you've got the place on the hilt that you normally hold, but then there's another place where I guess you can put your hand through.
Yeah,
Right.
it's almost as if she's cuffed to it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we got this gnarly looking creature here. I like that. I like
Yes.
how you got the stuff in the foreground easily visible and detailed, and then you've got the rear leg and the rear arm
Right.
in solid black shadow. That's cool.
Thank you. Yeah, again, these were just quick character designs I worked up for Jeff to work off of. And like these are also for sale in the campaigns as premium swag. So, with the premium swag, you would get the standard swag bag items, but you would also get one of these original character design pieces by me.
What size medium is it on?
It's on Bristol board, and they're 5.5 by 7.5. Like the size of the book is going to be.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
That's a trip. Then we have this character,
and that is the Prince of Echoes. I haven't been able to talk too much about him, but he is the big bad of the book.
Okay, all right.
He's kind of a formless, shapeless being that often possesses people, but when he is not possessing someone, this is his base form.
Okay. Interesting. All right, so the main stretch goal set at 8K is a world guide designed to emulate the look and feel of old D&D monster manuals. It'll be filled with illustrations from some of your favorite independent CG artists, including Peter Gilmore, Simon Simpoitier, 6 a.m. Comics, Selena Hernandez, Donald DeLay, Stefani Renee, Passion for Drawing, and more.
Yep.
Man, you got quite a collection of artists there.
I'm telling you, I like my stable, man. Like, basically, every time I work with someone, I always want the door open to be able to work with them again in the future. Donald is going to be our cover artist for all 3 volumes of The Gods Fear Me, but I also want to work with him on other stuff. And, this is an example of that. Like, I dropped him a line and gave him the basic premise, and, he was like, yeah, if you meet that stretch goal, I'm down.
Sweet. That sounds really cool, actually.
Yeah, I'd really like to make it happen. Like, I knew the base book itself was going to be a tough sell just because, Pulp kind of falls out of the realm of what we all are here for with, Comicsgate. But I mean, there's an un-PC rebellious feel to what they were doing with pulps back in the day that I think echoes into CG. And like I said, if people are open and willing to experiment with this the way I'm experimenting with it, I think they'd be surprised to see what a viable medium pulp can still be.
Yeah. I may be wrong, but I think PTP, Patrick Thomas Purnell, did something similar with his Headless Horseman book.
Oh, nice.
I think that was his goal, to have a melding of spot illustrations along with story.
Yeah.
So I like that CG not only is open to doing all these different genres of storytelling, not exclusively superheroes. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love superheroes, but I love that people are so versatile.
Right.
And they're exploring other styles of medium, I guess. I that might not be the right term, but like you're going into pulp. Another creator I had on my show went into haiku poetry.
Oh, wow.
6 a.m. Comics' wife actually released a book on poetry.
Right.
And I think it's nothing but good stuff.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, you know, both in terms of what we do here at Chibi and, you know, what Comicsgate is. I mean, obviously our bread and butter is always going to be comics,
Mhm.
and I want it to be that way.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, like our whole mantra is whatever the market will support, whatever the reader is into, right?
Yes, exactly.
So, you know, if we can find our audience for Longshadow, I'm happy to produce these once a year for the next 9 years because I'd like to do 9 volumes in total.
Now, where do you get the number 9?
It's basically 3 trilogies,
Ah, okay.
and I I kind of I kind of sidestepped around this the past couple of streams that I've done, but like
Right.
I'm just gonna lay it out there because like we need the backers, and I think like getting more out there about what this series of books is going to be will maybe entice people. Um, so the long story short, you know, like I've had Longshadow in my head for like 10 years as this character in RPG series that I've played, but specifically the idea for the world and this, you know, story that he's on um, kind of originates with Fable. If you ever played that, it was a video game up for the Xbox.
No, I didn't, but I've heard of it.
Okay, well, so they did a trilogy of Fable games, and the second one was the best, and the third one was kind of eh. And then the Microsoft, you know, just kind of shut down the studio that produced it.
Oh,
Um, like it still exists as far as I know, but it's a shell of its former self.
oh,
And you know, a few years ago they started talking about bringing Fable back with, you know, a reboot because of course. And nothing's happened with it yet, but when they started talking about bringing Fable back, I started thinking about well, because for context, the publisher that put it out is a European publisher.
hmm. Okay.
Um, I started thinking about like European fairy tale and fantasy epics, and one of the things that I haven't seen really done in the fantasy genre is the approach that Games Workshop takes to their fantasy world. And what I mean by that is like you've got this traditional fantasy world, but then you see it evolve all the way into the future with the 40K stuff.
Huh.
And so the 3 trilogies that I want to do with Longshadow is there's this first trilogy which is very much like the classic fantasy world. Like Elos is a fantasy kingdom. But then with the second trilogy, and this is a slight spoiler, because Longshadow has kind of been cursed with immortality, um, we see Elos eventually evolve into like a modern day fantasy steampunk ish uh, land. You know, like not call it a nation for lack of a better word. And then with the third trilogy, we would see Elos all the way in the far distant future and all the ramifications of that.
Oh.
So I kind of want to use Longshadow as an excuse to explore one giant kingdom stretched out across thousands of years.
Hmm. Well, that's interesting. Um, welcome, Idiot Peanut. Hello, friends.
Hey, Peanut.
Sugar Chris says the rumor is that the upcoming remaster that Microsoft is talking about is the Fable trilogy.
Mm,
They say there is still development work being done on Fable 4.
okay.
Oh, interesting.
Sure. So yeah, basically, like you know, when all that talk of Fable started up, I was like, they should just take the Games Workshop approach and like they should do one Fable game that's still traditional fantasy, and then they should do one that's kind of modern day-ish but has like magical overtones to it, and then they should do like a Fable set in the far future.
Oh.
Um, and obviously they're not going to do that, and I'm like, F that, I'm just stealing that for myself.
Cool. Oh, I'm sorry, I won the wrong one. All right. So here's a question.
Yeah.
So if I understand, you, your wife's also an artist, right?
Yes, she is.
Do you guys have plans on teaming up on a project?
We definitely do. She would like to do something on her own, and we would like to produce a couple things together. The reality is, raising a kid with absolutely no friends or family is a lot of work.
Oh
So,
man, yeah.
one of us is kind of the breadwinner, and the other one watches him, and we just kind of go back and forth like that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. It'll be easier like once he starts up school, whatever that's going to be like, because I don't know about public school, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it.
Right. And do you find, like, say, maybe it's your turn to watch the kid and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
While you're doing that, can you use that time also to multitask and write?
Sometimes, like it was way harder when he was like 2 and heading into 3. But he's about 3.5 now, and he's at the point where he's like starting to turn into a person. Like, I know how that sounds, but but it is what it is. Like when you're dealing with a toddler, they just everything is id, everything is like me, I. And so he's kind of at the point where like we can like leave him alone for 2 minutes without being like, oh God, what are you doing? And so I have to imagine like by the time he's like 4 and heading into 5, yeah, like I'll be like, hey buddy, like can you sit down and draw? Like daddy's got to write, or daddy's got to like lay out some pages or whatever. Or when Selena's up to bat, she can do that stuff with him. But right now, like it's this kind of hamster wheel of like, if I have to do streams or if there's like pre-press stuff that I have to do for a book, like, like we feed him, all right, like get him out, get him to a park, like let him burn some of that energy off, come back, have lunch, maybe put him down for a nap, like rinse, repeat. Okay, now it's dinner time, now he's in bed, and we can start our work day at like 9 o'clock at night.
Yep. Cool. Very cool. Excuse me. If you haven't already, back this book. It's called Longshadow and the Return. Oh, actually, it's the Return of Pulp Entertainment, a high fantasy pulp novel.
We're trying, man.
Yeah, back this campaign. We definitely want to see this funded. We are in the first month, right?
Yeah, it's the first month. Like I said with Deepwell, it's funny, man. Like I kind of set these difficult tasks for me to overcome. Like with Deepwell, it was like, okay, I got to get people interested in Western, and now it's okay, I got to get people interested in a pulp novel. It is the first 30 days, and we can extend if we have to. But again, the sooner we hit funding, the sooner I can put Jeff to work, and I can start prepping this for print. I can start getting ready The Gods Fear Me 2 to launch that. It's as soon as funding hits, like, I'm putting these guys to work.
Nice. That's the way to do it.
Yep.
Excuse me.
I see you, Chris. Yeah.
I miss the Ghost of Tsushima days.
Yeah. So I streamed over like the course of like maybe 3 months. I streamed 2/3 of Ghost of Tsushima, and I called the stream Samurai Minus Dinosaurs.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So, and I never finished it. Like the problem, Chris, is like, when Clark was younger, he could sleep through like, an explosion. So I could, I could play and stream and talk into a mic and yell and get angry. I could do all that, and he would sleep right through it through the night.
Whoa.
But if I was to do that now, like he'd wake up in 10 minutes, and like the whole stream would be like me being like, all right, I'll be right back, and just vanishing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I haven't forgotten you, Chris. I haven't forgotten Samurai Minus Dinosaurs. I do want to finish it. It's just a matter of timing. I was actually thinking about it like about a week ago, and I'm like, maybe I could just do afternoon streams. But that would probably mean Chris wouldn't be able to watch, because he would watch those like during his breaks at work late at night.
Yeah. It's like keeping you company.
Yeah. But we'll see what we can do. It'll get done, Chris.
Sweet. You said, did I hear right? You're about 3/4 of the way through the game?
Yeah, I'm at the tail end of the section when you break away from your dad and you're kind of, an outlaw.
Okay.
Like I'm almost at the end of that section, so I know like I'm closing into the final act of the game.
All right. It's understandable, Mike. You have a family that you were responsible for. That's your top priority.
Yeah. Well, Clark is a fussy little fudge.
Everybody, back Longshadow, a high fantasy pulp novel. If you have already backed it, congrats and thank you for your support. Back it once, back it twice, back it 3 times a lady. You've
Please
got
do.
family and friends who also want copies. This is a pulp novel, after all. It's got widespread appeal. If you don't have the means to do so at the moment, please consider sharing it all over your social media. Let's check out the trailer again real quick.
Sure, you got it, man.
Cool.
Thank you, sir.
Let's check out the perks.
Let's do that. Sure.
So we got the swag bag. What's in the swag bag?
Yeah, so the swag bag we do with all of our campaigns, and the perks are usually the same, but they vary a little bit from campaign to campaign. With this one, you're going to be getting the base book. You're also going to be getting the prequel novella, A Murder in Amberglass. You'll be getting a Longshadow trading card, a print of the map of Elos, and you'll be getting a Longshadow sticker and a mini poster of the cover.
All right. Nice. Now we have the digital edition.
Yeah, so that's the base book digitally, and the regular print edition is directly under that.
All right, there's the main cover. Excuse me.
I labeled it as main cover because probably in the next week to a week and a half, we're going to be rolling out our Preston Acevedo alternate cover. Preston does all of our alternate covers for all of our campaigns.
Wow, nice.
So yeah, I'm going to be putting him to work fairly shortly, and I'll tease this. His cover is going to be of red locks, and
Oh.
yeah.
Oh shit! All
And
right.
I'm gonna request that he push the Frazetta as far as he can.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Oh man, people
Yeah.
are in for a treat.
I know. I can't wait to see it.
Frazetta style, that's classic. Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah.
Didn't he also do heavy metal?
Yeah. Right.
And Preston, I mean, oh man, he's a freaking awesome artist. He's a painter,
Mm-hmm.
and just as an example of how good this is going to look, pull up the older you know what? Hold on. Let me just. I should still be able to pull it up. I'll come back to this. Let's pull up Peregrine.
Yeah.
It is a closed campaign, and they are fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
But just as an example of what you're talking about in terms of the quality of his work.
There it is.
Boom. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So imagine that black and white, highly rendered pencils, and red locks, very inspired by Frazetta. I have no idea what he's going to do yet, but I know it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. I am phenomenally impressed with his skills.
Absolutely.
And his attention to detail and stuff. And, I love his work.
Yeah. Me too, obviously. Like, after he did that God's Fear Me cover, I just straight up told him, I'm like, look, as long as you're happy working with us, you're our alt cover artist forever.
Nice. Oh, hey, Carol. I just started Ghost of Tsushima. Oh, nice.
It's an incredible game. I should probably finish it.
Yeah, you should. And Carol, if you don't already do it, you should definitely be streaming your gameplay.
Yeah, definitely.
People dig that. Other people I know, like Fate Salvation, he played that game, and Joe Frago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how far they got.
Mm-hmm.
I think Fade might have passed it. I can't remember.
Sure.
But it's a very popular game, and it's got great graphics and stuff.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I mean, even on the PS4, which is what I was streaming it on, like the art design on that thing pushed that machine as hard as it could.
Out of curiosity, how did you stream off the PS4? Did you link up to the PlayStation Network and do it and have it somehow tied to Twitch?
No, it gives you the option of what platform you want to stream on, and I just streamed it directly to my YouTube channel.
Oh, all right, right on.
Yeah. I mean, like, the only thing that sucks about that setup is you can't have someone just join the room like you can with StreamYard. Like, they also have to have a PS4, and you have to invite them into a party, kind of like what Xbox does too on their platforms.
Okay.
But so, like, I couldn't, like, what I wanted ideally was, like, if like Chris had a night off, I wanted him to just hang out and chill with me, but I couldn't get him into the game because he didn't have a PS4.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I don't think I have the abilities to stream. My internet can hardly handle StreamYard. Oh my.
Oh, wow.
No, that's a bummer. I'm glad you're playing it though, because it looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, and enjoy it, girl.
Indeed. So we got the, let's see, Longshadow digital Longshadow main cover. All right.
Right.
And then we got the digital chibi pack.
So yeah, like we were talking about earlier, it's all of our previous work to date plus the current release, and that's the digital version of it.
How many titles is it total?
3, and then we'll be making it 4 when we do the leftover campaign for Deepwell.
Okay, all right. Man, that Samurai and Dinosaurs cover, that was Kelsey Shannon, right?
Yeah, that's Kelsey. He's a tough act to follow, man. It's still like,
Oh, shit. I love that. I love that image.
and I know he's proud of it too, because I watched a video where he was like, "Yeah, I keep myself busy, and I just find myself with a lot of projects." And that was one of the images that he used. I'm like, all right, so he was happy with it too.
Yeah, man, I love that image.
It's so good, man.
It is. And this is the physical version of the chibi pack, right?
Right, correct.
Oh, and yeah, you weren't kidding. You are running low.
Yeah, we're running low. Like, you know, I had to spread out about 12 copies between this, and I had a chibi pack on the Gods Fear Me leftover
Oh
campaign,
my gosh! Wow.
and like a couple copies up on eBay for, you know, CG Now.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh
So
my gosh.
we are spread thin on Samurai.
Whoa. Yeah. 1 out of 4 claimed already.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got the meat original art. Okay, that image we saw earlier.
Right.
Yeah, I liked how it was quite detailed.
Yes. Very much so.
Nice rendering.
Yeah, the scene is going to be awesome. You know, basically, the opening of the book is Longshadow coming back to his. He has a mountain base called Master Point. That's kind of his bat cave.
Uh-huh.
And he comes back after a rough adventure, and in the under section of the mountain is a hot springs, and so he's you know, decompressing, he's relaxing, and it's the traditional fantasy thing of the woman rising out of the water. So
Okay.
he's
Right.
one part aroused but also kind of freaked out, and then, you know, like, out comes the black sword pointed right at his throat. It's gonna be good stuff, man.
Nice. Nice. So that's original art, and this is on. Is it 11 by 17?
No, I think those are 5x7.
Okay, all right, 5 by 7.
Yeah.
Now, 5 by 7.
Basically, we're gonna stockpile a couple of those, and Jeff is gonna mail them out to me in chunks as we progress through the production.
Now, for this to be included in the book, is it going? Is it like taking up? Is the image, you know, the artwork taking up the whole page?
It'll be taking up about like the bottom half to bottom third of the page.
Oh, okay, all right.
And not every image is going to be 5x7, but these two images, this and the red key image, were 5x7. Like, some will be bigger, like full page. Some will be smaller.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
And so in every case, is the like 5 by 7? That's somewhere around here, I guess.
Yeah, there.
Are they being included in the book at 1-to-1 scale, or are you still shrinking them down?
Yeah, no, they're going to be shrunk down a little bit.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Because as you shrink down an image, it makes things sharper and cleaner.
Yeah.
Whereas if you do the reverse, if you do 1-to-1 scale, you know, it'll probably look great. But if you enlarge a smaller image, then
Right.
you're risking blurriness and pixelization and things like that.
Yeah, like, basically, for people who aren't artists or don't work, you know, in print production stuff, whenever I have to have this conversation about DPI, like dots per inch, I just equate it to like the difference between like DVDs and Blu-rays. Like, you know, like the higher the DPI, the sharper the image. But as you do, like, if you were to blow up a DVD screenshot, it would be like extremely blurry and fuzzy just because it doesn't have the amount of pixels that it needs.
Absolutely. That's a good analogy there. And then we've got the premium swag 1 of 8. Premium swag 1 of 8, and then there's 0 of 1 claimed.
Right. So, like I was saying earlier, the premium swags are everything that comes with the standard swag bag. Plus, you're going to be getting one of the character design pieces that I did for reference for Jeff.
Oh, all right. Gotcha.
So first up is Red Locks, and the next one listed is Rinsmore, who is kind of Q to Longshadow's Bond, if you want to use that analogy.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Longshadow and Red Key clash. Get the grab bag plus the that image.
Mm-hmm.
The many echoes get drawn in. Get drawn into Longshadow?
Yeah.
Oh, 6 openings.
So basically, the thing with the Prince of Echoes is he's a new take / my unique interpretation of vampires.
Okay.
You know, like we all know common, vampire mythology, but where I wanted to go with it was almost more of a spiritual attack than a physical attack. Like the Prince of Echoes physically destroys the person's spirit, soul, whatever you want to call it, and inhabits that body. And when he moves to another body, either because of he wants to or out of necessity, for sustenance, the previous body is just a crumpled shell. Like there's nothing.
Wicked.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
So basically, with the drawn in tier, there's going to be a section of the book where you see not all, but a decent amount of the previous forms and people that he's inhabited, and you can be drawn in as one of those people.
Does he, without spoilers, is there a way to, I mean, does he have a consistent particular way of acquiring bodies?
That's kind of where terrorizing Old Country comes in. Old Country is basically this mostly abandoned part of Elos where the kingdom used to be located, but then there was a huge apocalyptic war and everyone kind of relocated to the west. But there's still some people, it's mostly poor people, but there's still some people that live in Old Country. And one day this dark, mysterious tower appears in the woods, and all of a sudden people start going missing.
Ooh, hello.
Yeah.
All right. Right on. Then we got the prequel novella original art.
Mm-hmm. And this would be on 11 by 17 as well.
Ooh, nice. Work in progress. So on the finished version of the prequel novella original art tier,
mm-hmm.
the WIP will be removed and it'll be more fleshed out and finalized.
Yeah. I mean, the work in progress is just dropped in Photoshop, and
all right.
Yeah, like the physical production part of it is done. Like she's fully inked. So
jeez.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's just the coloring that I'm working on right now.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. I see you again, Chris. Yes, a drawn in tier.
A drawn in tier? Dang it, Mike.
Chris and getting drawn in.
Yeah, drawn in tiers are very appetizing.
Yeah. And here's like a very small spoiler for The Gods Fear Me. Chris is going to, and we've talked about this a little bit, Chris is going to be a semi-recurring character in The Gods Fear Me.
Oh my gosh, what a trip.
Because he started off with just his drawn in thing in book 1, and that particular character, like for anyone that's read it, like you know, like he survives a pretty horrendous attack, and I wrote to Chris and I'm like, I can't kill you and I can't write you out of this thing, man. I can't quit you, Chris. I can't quit you.
I can't quit you. Oh, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Man, what a talk about getting a deal for your drawn-in tier.
Yeah. Chris is really getting it with that one.
Oh man, what a trip. Yeah, I backed I think a couple drawn tiers.
Mm-hmm.
I like to do more in the future.
Sure.
I just think they're fun.
There.
So let's see here. The main cover original art.
Yeah. So right now, like I'm out in Bufu land doing family stuff with you know, my mom, and this Jeff sent this and it arrived the day before we left, and seeing it in person, man, it's gorgeous.
It looks good.
Yeah,
it looks good.
It's so good looking at it up close. Like there's so much detail that just doesn't come through in the scan.
Do you have it within reach?
No, it's at home. I wasn't going to bring that on the road.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
you're visiting family. All right.
Yeah.
Let me see here. All right. Yeah, one of the fun things about Indiegogo campaigns is seeing. I like when creators, leave up those tiers that sold out, because it's fun to see what I missed out on.
Yeah.
It's also a reminder to myself to push to score these tiers while I can.
Exactly. If you see something you like, get it.
Yeah, seriously. The map of Ilos original art.
Like I can already tell you when Preston always lets us put the original art for his covers up for sale. Those things sell within 2 hours of being posted.
Oh yeah. It I don't want to discourage people from backing them, but it may be coming to that point in time where you might want to start increasing the price.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, his stuff sells fast.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, those are among the things that get scooped up right away.
Right. Absolutely.
Nice. Yeah, I don't get why Indiegogo does these weird little videos at the bottom.
Yeah, that was a weird thing that started between the last time I ran a campaign and now. Like I was formatting this one and I was like, the hell is that?
Yeah. It's like insert promotional Indiegogo thing here.
Right. I'm like, but I don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like you're already getting my money. Like, isn't that promo enough? Like,
right. You know it. Yeah, it looks cool. This is a neat idea.
Thanks, man. Yeah. We're hustling hard.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Let's catch the trailer once more, y'all.
You got it, man.
All right. If you haven't backed it yet, why haven't you backed it? Back it now. Back
We
it
hope
once.
we hope everyone out there listening and watching will join us for the ride. As with all of our titles, I promise you the highest quality that we're capable of producing. And I know this one, again, like we talked about earlier, falls outside of the realm of strictly what CG is up to these days. But again, it's that essence of CG that I think goes all the way back to Pulp, and I'm trying to modernize it for today's audiences.
Awesome. Yeah. If you haven't already, back the book. Let's get this thing funded. Definitely looking forward to it funding. And if the forecast is any indication, I believe it said, oh, all right, we'll ignore that.
No,
It'll hit.
again, if we have to extend into the second 30, we will.
Yeah, for sure. And back it once, back it twice, back it 3 times a lady.
Please do.
Get this thing funded and fast. If you don't have the means to do so at this time, definitely please consider sharing this all over your social media. Let's get more eyeballs on this because it's definitely worth it.
Oh, thanks so much, man.
Yeah. So, yeah. It's cool. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you.
Is there anything I might have forgotten to cover? Anything that you want to point out about this campaign?
No, we were
Story?
pretty thorough, man. That's the gist of it.
Fantastic. All right. Well, I wanted to thank everyone in chat for joining us today. You guys are so freaking awesome. I love y'all. Thanks to everyone who watches this on replay. And thanks especially to our very special guest, Mike Murphy.
Well, thanks for having me, man, and thanks for everyone hanging out. It's a pleasure as always.
Awesome sauce. I'm going to give you the floor here.
Mhm.
Would you share with the world how you can be found on social media?
You got it. So you can find me on Twitter and TikTok at chibi_Mike. And you can also find me here on YouTube at the Chibi Mike, all one word. I'm going to be producing content for my page again shortly after I get done with this family stuff. I'll be doing readings of classic pulp stories, starting with Solomon Kane. And you'll also see more promotional material for Longshadow. And, I'll see what I can do about finishing off Ghost of Tsushima as well.
Nice. And
good to meet you too, Carol.
That would be me. Super freaking awesome, Cookie. Nice to meet you. And you can find me at my usual haunts. You'll find my social media on most of my streams and videos. Let me see. You'll find me mostly on Twitter at WyzGyz Tweets, on YouTube at WyzGyzEntertainment, and WyzGyz being one word. If you break it into 2 portions, then it brings up all these other unrelated search results. So look for WyzGyz. And then on Twitch at WyzGyzEntertainment, all one word. No spaces, no symbols. Let's see. I recently passed Knights of the Old Republic 2 a second time.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going to check out some other games. I might do another Star Wars game like Dark Forces or Jedi Academy. Or sure. I might delve into something entirely different, maybe BioShock.
Oh, okay.
Haven't made up my mind, but then I also on social media, on Twitter, I think, in fact, I saw a clip of this crazy video that's supposed to be a tactical shooter combined with dating sim.
What? Okay.
But it's something like War with Roses.
Huh. Okay.
Excuse me. But it's like one of those games that was barely slapped together.
Sure.
Probably by foreigners, and so there's all kinds of bugs, and
right.
You've got people like halfway sunk into the floor. And
Okay.
I thought, well, maybe it would be funny just to see how crazy it gets,
Right.
even if it's not that good a game. Even despite the bugginess. But yeah, please like, comment, subscribe, mark the bell for notifications, mark all notifications, so hopefully you don't miss a single video. We just hit 433 subs, so that's pretty exciting. I think the estimate is that I might barely get eligible for monetization on YouTube in 1.5 years.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, let's see if we can up that. Let's see if we can hustle on that.
There we go. There we go. So thanks again, everyone, for joining us. And we shall see you on the next stream. Bye.
Later.
Final guest that is the only person below White Holiday in the Comicsgate phone book. It's my favorite failed clone of Peter Sametti. The YouTube sensation. WyzGyz. How you doing, Conrad? Welcome to the show.